Good day everybody and welcome back. Today I got a story about a faulty Zippo lighter, a recruit in a bad mood, and a case of mistaken identity that could have went wrong in so many ways. If you're interested, why don't you stick around and find out. I should start this story out by telling you about a fellow who was in my squad. His name was Stainthorpe. He was 2 or 3 bunks down from mine. During the course, he had managed to develop a really super solid impression of Master Corporal Butt, who was our drill instructor. You couldn't tell the two of them apart. As a matter of fact, when we were in Granville and we had to do some skits for the instructors, Stainthorpe played the part of Master Corporal Butt. To this day, we're not really sure how well that went over. Anyway, this guy could duplicate Master Corporal Butt's voice and demeanor, and times you weren't sure if it was one or the other. So anyway, I told you that story to tell you this one. Hot August afternoon, late into the course, we did a 10-week recruit training course at that time. Our platoon had just finished a march back from Granville to CFB Cornwallis, and we were at the quartermasters, and we were in what's known as a hollow square. So it's an alcove in a building. You have 3 sides to it. There's 113 of us to go in through the indoor, drop our gear off, and come out through the outdoor, and then resume position, relaxed position beside our weapons, while leaving a sentry outside to guard the weapons. So we did everything by alphabetical order, my last name being Preston. We were pretty far along in our 113 recruits going through. When I had come through, went over by my weapon and knelt down on one knee, and I was looking down at my weapon and just fiddling around with the sights and just kind of tinkering, not really in the greatest mood. So I glanced up and I looked at the crowd coming out, and happened to notice one of them was Stainthorpe. And I thought, well, that's good. We're getting into the S's, which is pretty close to the end of our alphabetical order for our platoon. So I saw Stainthorpe and I looked back down, and then I hear this voice go, "Hey, Preston!" Without looking up, assuming it was Stainthorpe, I said, "Yeah, what the do you want?" After I did that, I looked up, and Stainthorpe had a big shit-eating grin on his face, and the crowd started to disperse kind of, and in behind them all, leaning on the railing to the staircase to the parade square, was none other than Master Corporal Butt. Oh my God. Seriously. It was Master Corporal Butt who was calling me, so I leap up and, "Yes, Master Corporal." I go marching right over to him and come to a proper military halt, and he just grins at me and says, "All I wanted was a smoke, Preston." And I'm immediately fumbling for my cigarettes, which were in the top pocket of my combats, and of course I was all covered in sweat, and pulled out my soggy cigarette package and searched for a dry cigarette that I could give to the Master Corporal. Handed that to him, and he goes, "Hey, you got a light?" Pull out my Zippo lighter I was so proud of, the one with the Canadian Forces emblem on it that I had bought at the Canucks a few weeks earlier. And I flipped open my Zippo and I went to light Master Corporal Butt's cigarette. And the flint had worn just enough to escape between the spring and the friction wheel. And out come the flint and the spring, and there I'm standing there with a soggy deck of cigarettes, and I can't even light my Master Corporal smoke, and I've just asked him the worst thing I could possibly ask an instructor, and the last thing I want to be is recourse, and oh my God. And I said, "Master Corporal, I really didn't think that was you who called me," and he just cocked an eyebrow and looked at me and said, "Don't you think I know that, Preston?" At that point I knew I was all right, and I knew that Master Corporal Butt had a bit of a heart. All's well that ends well, and we get our stuff put away at the quartermasters, and we get back to the shacks, and they tell us we did such a good job in Granville that we do have our weekend passes. And from what I remember, that 9th weekend out of our 10-week course, a bunch of friends of mine and myself headed off to Annapolis Royal. And Annapolis Royal was a beautiful place. From what I remember, all heritage buildings, and there was a nice dock out on the water. We took some pictures of each other, and anyway, some memories that we made there in Cornwallis are enough to last somebody a lifetime. I gotta tell you, I'm really enjoying making these military videos. It's really taken me back in time, and a lot of things I didn't think I could remember are coming back pretty sharp in my memory, and it's making me smile, and I hope it's making you smile. And if you do like my stories, please hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you can be notified of any future stories I have coming up. Like the video, share the video on your favorite social media, and that'll help get it spread around and get some more views. Alright everybody, be good to each other, and we'll see you next time around, next video. Okay, bye bye.